Okay, good morning, everybody. Top of the morning.
Good morning.
Look at all these bright, smiling faces. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about pitching here today. Okay, and I'm going to go over a couple things that you may have heard before. If you watch me give the clinic, probably a lot of this stuff you will have heard before. I'm hoping you're going to hear a couple things that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe are being reminded that they're real important. So when I'm starting to work on my golf game, which I'm just getting ready to. It's kind of, we're getting toward the end of our season here, and I'm kind of itching to start playing myself and hit balls and practicing and stuff like that. So when I do that, what I start out with is the first day I'll do putting and chipping only. Okay, I won't even do pitching like this. And in the chipping, I'm really trying to play the ball more off of my back foot here with a 7 or 8 iron, or maybe even a 6 iron. And the ball's back here, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get used to trapping the ball there, okay, and hitting the ball first, keeping my left wrist really firm, my left arm really straight, and keeping the club nice and low going through the ball. So pitching is a lot like chipping in that I'm making pretty much the same stroke, except that in this case I've got a sand wedge. I'm going to hit the ball to this middle pin right there, and when I hit this shot, I'm going to have the ball probably for this shot right here. I'm probably going to have it a little bit back in my stance. So, meaning that the ball's going to be a little bit back toward my back foot because I have a lot of loft on the club, and I don't need to hit the ball real high here. I want to have it coming in pretty low. In fact, most of the guys that play for their living, they're going to hit the ball low whenever they can hit it low. Okay, they're going to play the ball back and hit the ball low whenever they can hit it that way. Now, if we were going to the pin over to the right over there, which is about 15 feet on the green, that's a different story. Now I'm going to have to play the ball a little bit more toward my front foot, maybe even open my face on my club up a little bit, and then just stroke through it. But my stroke is still going to be pretty much the same thing. So one of the things that I see a lot of people do, so I put this other stick here like this, so that when I come back on my backswing, I want this club to go back pretty straight here. I want it to go back pretty straight in line with that ball back there. When I get right here, and this shaft's parallel to the ground, I want that shaft lined up on this stick underneath me, which is parallel to my target line. I see a lot of people when they're hitting these short shots kind of come in here too much, and then they swing through the ball and they go out to the right? So in our big swing, we want a little bit of that, but in this shot, we don't want much of that, okay? The other thing I see some people do is they'll take here and they'll pick the club up and they'll go outside with their, across the ball like that. We don't really want to do that either. Unless for some reason you're trying to hit the ball really high and really soft, and you're going to have your club face real open and kind of swing to the left of the target. That's the only time I would do that, honestly. Just a review here. I'm choking down on this club. Haven't really said too much about that yet, but I am going to choke down the club. When I take the club back, I'm not going to use a lot of wrist. I'm going to use a little wrist, but not a lot. So when I come back here, I want the club going back, just a little teeny bit of a wrist cock there. But when I get right here and I'm going forward, I'm trying to keep my left wrist really firm. I want that left wrist really firm when I come through here, and I want my left arm to be really straight, and I want to be looking at that ball, and then after I hit the ball, I'm looking at the blade of grass underneath it. I'm not going to be going, hey, where's that ball going? I tried that a lot, and you know what? I had a lot of bad shots that way. So I stopped looking for it. In fact, my teacher told me, more in putting, but he said, look, son, if you're gonna be looking for that ball real fast, don't expect a good result, okay? And he said, if you hit a bad shot, you don't really want to see it anyway, right? And so that's how I apply to this right here. Is if I'm going to hit this poorly, I don't want to see that thing. But if I hit it good, I can feel it when I hit the ball, okay? So let's hit the shot here. And again, for this shot right here, I'm going to try to play the ball back in my stance just a touch, and then I think this is going to break just a little bit left to right here, so I'm going to aim about at the shadow, and then try to keep the club moving right straight to the target here. And this particular shot, I'm going to play with the club face pretty square. It's not open, it's not closed, it's just pretty square to the target. Something like this. Okay, I got a bad little kick there. I don't know whether it's because I closed the club down a little bit when I hit it or not, but I hit that ball pretty solid, and I think I kept my eyes down pretty good. I know I hit it real solid. So I wouldn't be that unhappy with that, since I'm not practicing a whole lot. But the key is, in these shots, let me say one more thing too. A lot of people, most people, that when I'm helping somebody and they're having trouble with their short game, most of the time this club's going back farther than it is coming through, okay? And so maybe my last thing I would say to you is just make sure if you're going to take this club back 3 feet, okay, or 2.5 feet or 3 feet, then when you come through, you should be going that far through, okay? And if you're going back, if your teacher says, hey, you're taking that club back too far, then you're probably going to have to feel like you're taking the club back a little shorter and going through a little bit more. Because one of the things I listened to the great players when I first went on the PGA Tour, I listened to them talking about short shots, and all of them, there was no exception, they want this club to be accelerating through the ball. There's only a rare shot where I'm not going to accelerate through the ball. In fact, honestly, I can't even think. Maybe I wouldn't accelerate quite so much. I'm not sure. I don't want to say I've never done that, but I can't remember any shot where I felt like I was slowing down into the ball. Some of them I was not really going real fast through it, but does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so just to review, and my posture here is my weight is right on the balls of my feet right here. Okay, so I'm kind of hunkered down here. My rear end's sticking out. And ladies, I know most of you guys don't like to do that, you know, but you got to do that, and the guys do too. Stick your rear ends out a little bit, because that's going to help allow you to tilt out over the ball from your waist, okay, and from your hips. So you want to get there and then when you come back, you're trying to take the club back pretty straight and go through pretty straight. Now I'm going to hit one shot here, and you guys over here probably better move back a little bit, because I want to hit one shot so you can see what I'm doing when I come through the ball here. Yeah, thank you very much. You're good. So I'm going to go a little left of maybe where I'd like to. So when I come through this shot here, I'm trying to keep my hands a little bit ahead of that ball when I hit it, and then I want to keep the club accelerating through. So kind of the last thing, and I really haven't talked about this much, but when I get back here on the backswing, the first thing that's going to move for me is my right foot and my right knee are going to kick in just a little bit. And then my shoulders are going to come down here like this, and I really don't feel like I'm using my hands at all when I hit this shot, okay? So let's see if I can get all that dirt off there. So something like this. Okay, so that ball went up there pretty high, but I didn't have to roll my face open or really try to feel like I kept the club face open going through. I just hit the ball, you know, just hit the ball solid there. Okay, thanks a lot, Cuddy.